And welcome back to Janky AF and Year of the Aerostar, episode number 83. Well, whenever we're doing an episode from bed, that always means we're either traveling or everything is in a state of chaos and I can't possibly, get my normal setup up and running, and so we're just sort of winging it here. But I wanted to get this episode out for several reasons. One, I think this is a very, very nice Aerostar, and I'm worried it's going to sell soon, so I wanted to be able to capture it. Secondly, there's just so many things going on in the Janky AF world right now. We are in yet another improvised situation here because there's all very good things, but a lot, we're moving, essentially, is what I'll say, and keep it brief there. The spring season is coming. Things are ramping up in Janky Painting and Toilet Company. It's getting very busy. And all those are very good things. However, all those may prohibit me from acquiring what I am about to show you here. So, without further ado, here we have a 1993 Ford Aerostar extended minivan, listed for just $3,200 in West Edmiston, New York. Now, I have not divulged to you all, lovely viewers, where exactly I live, but let's just say this is the closest Aerostar that's ever been, I've ever found in terms of proximity to where I actually live. This is probably 20-25 minutes away, maybe 30 minutes away from where I live. So, to find such an absolute, stunning, handsome, dashing...
The handsome, dashing Ford Aerostar.
Ford Aerostar so close to home is just, it's like torture, basically. Driven 177,000 miles, automatic transmission, exterior color blue. Obviously a blue and silver two-tone, interior color black, fuel type gasoline, 17 city, 23 highway, 19 miles per gallon combined, one owner, and this vehicle is paid off. So let's go ahead and read this description. 1993 Ford Aerostar V6. It was my grandfather van. Reading that verbatim. One owner, always been in garage, always very well maintained at Ford dealer in Hamilton, New York. Only been driven one winter, almost zero rust, and it's a 1993. To reiterate, the 1993 Aerostar is a 1993. No emissions for See, whenever I try to make a cute little remark about someone's language, I end up looking like the idiot because they're saying it's a 1993 and therefore no emissions for inspection. Runs and drives fine. 3,200 or best offer. Oh boy, this is obviously the Aerostar in general is very near and dear to my heart. This is probably the most personal episode I've ever done because when springtime rolled around this year, I said, out loud and publicly to those around me, this year I'm going to have a net negative year in cars. Now, I currently own 7 automobiles. I own 2 Aerostars. I own 2 Fiat X19s, although one is a parts car, but I still own it. I own a 95 Buick LeSabre. I own a 2002 Volkswagen Jetta, and I own a 2015 Toyota Prius V. Quite a random, eclectic assortment, and hopefully we will get you a proper fleet video here coming soon this spring. They've all been tucked away in the garage. And I am a person of modest means, and not only is it difficult to acquire these vehicles, but then to keep them running, to insure them, and just to have the time to drive them, to store them, to work on them, or have them worked on in some cases. you know, it's a lot. I mean, it seems like a trend now in YouTube for people to like be selling off their vehicles. I don't want to do that. Like, you know, I wish I had Jay Leno's garage and I could just keep acquiring and acquiring and acquiring and acquiring. In addition, you know, this upgrade that we're making in our living situation, not to mention, you know, tax season just happened. You know, without getting into the nitty gritty of, I'm not going to show you a spreadsheet of my personal finances, but let's just say that a lot of it has been going out, you know, and for necessary and good things, but I kind of can't in good conscience. I don't even have time. Like, I physically don't have time to go to West Edmiston right now. Last night, I went up to the airport to pick someone up and brought them home. Got home super late, was all wired, you know, and then got up super early this morning between work and getting everything in order for this move and yada, yada, yada. There is so much bullshit going on right now. And I don't have to censor that word because it's just, you know, not a curse word. You can see how just chaotic my life is right now. That's why I'm sitting in bed talking about a Ford Aerostar that I cannot buy, but desperately want to buy. Because look at this thing. I mean, this blue over silver two-tone is just fantastic. Like, the silver, I've never seen two colors accentuate the other one better. Like, the silver makes the blue pop more, and the blue gives the silver, I don't know, more radiance. You know, like, they just work off of each other so well. The fact that it's an extended, I've never had an extended Aerostar. One tire's a white wall, one is not. And I suppose we should give you a tour of more of these images. I mean, you know, the funny thing on this is these bumpers, I think, were actually factory. Ford went through this weird phase where instead of gray bumpers, they were doing these like dark purple bumpers. I mean, if you really look at this thing, it's got like, yes, I guess it's black, but it's got this like bluish purplish tint to it. And I'm not sure what years exactly. Here's another great shot. You can see, I mean, you know, it was the seller's grandfather probably bought it. He did buy it new. And so this thing just has a really amazing history because never driven in winters. You see a little rust starting to crop up there on the rocker, but are driven through one winter, probably out of necessity one year, I'm guessing. So it looks like the back tires are both white walls. But, you know, how many Aerostars since 1993 were just used and abused and scrapped and left for dead? And this one, you know, the ultimate survivor, just was taken care of, maintained at the dealership, and you know, in an age where people just discard a car every 3 to 5 years, like this thing has just been going and going and going, 177,000 miles. Now, I, you know, try to buy vehicles generally with lower miles, but this is almost like a feather in this thing's cap. Like, I would love to get this thing to 200,000 miles. It's just amazing piece of just 90s perfection. You don't see this blue and silver two-tone that often. I think I would, this is just an aside here, I feel like these bumpers are just calling out to be painted the same blue. And even like you know, it's almost got a little metallic in it. Factory roof rack, again, extended. The interior, I mean, look at the condition of the headliner. And headliner's in good condition. You have these, you know, rear passenger climate control. Your seats look to be in pretty good condition. None of your plastic molding's falling apart, all due to the fact probably that it was garage. You know, you have your two-tone blue seats. Both bench seats are still present. Your armrests have little protective covers over them. Blue cup holders. I wish we could see a little bit more of the interior. Obviously, it is, you know, the updated interior. And, you know, I don't know, the radio antenna seems to be coming out at a very strange angle, leaning forward into the wind. But, you know, the fact that this thing is like right in my backyard, timing is just so terrible. So I'm resisting like even contacting the seller. Like, you know, all my friends like want me to buy it. I want to buy it, but so I guess I make a plea to anyone out there watching this. If you see this Aerostar and you somehow have the means to purchase it, I will buy it from you eventually. And you could even make a little money off me on interest, you know? If you negotiate the price on this and maybe get them down a little bit, then, you know, maybe you can, that investment will pay off in the long run by selling it to me. But I don't want to see someone buy this and you know, just because it's cheap and like just ruin it, you know. And I know that's a little snooty. Like, someone needs a car, they should just have the car, and they should use it for what it was designed to do, which is haul people and things around. And I want to put it in my stupid little collection of vans that nobody cares about anymore. So, you know, I try to take the egalitarian position, but this thing is such a rare bird, and it's right in my backyard, and things in upstate New York do not just get preserved like this every day. You know, the more I look at it, the more it grows on me. So now it's the rear wheel drive. I'll try to talk myself out of it. Okay, it's the rear wheel drive. It's not the all wheel drive. It's the all wheel drive. Oof, that's just like, that's the real creme de la creme. And the other thing is, my sort of like quest, or my like sort of dream scenario, is to have an Aerostar from every year. So 86 to 97. Now I do have already a 93. So my Cayman Green 93 Sport is a 93, obviously. So that's the one thing where I'm like, well, it's not I already have that model year. So would I even be keeping it long term, or would I just like kind of hold on to it for a while? I would like to get these bumpers off and 3D scan them, because I do kind of have a little project where I'd like to get 3D scans of every single type of Aerostar bumper, and the extended bumpers are particularly difficult to find in intact condition. But you know, it's you know, it hasn't quite yet, but it might be the one that got away. You know, it's just like, it's just pure visceral heartbreak, you know, to not go get this thing. And I know it's just an object, I know it's just a possession, but you know, in that context, understanding that that's not really that important in life at the end of the day, but when you just see it dangling there in front of you, yeah, it's really difficult. And again, maybe this is silly, and but if you're watching this program, presumably you have some attachment to this vehicle, or you just stumbled upon it. You like vehicles generally, so you kind of, I think everyone understands, hopefully. And there you go. You know, I could say so much more, but I wanted to at least put this out there, and maybe someone will see it and you know, preserve this thing. And who knows, you know, I mean, if this thing's still there 3 weeks from now, and I can, you know, because if I want to remain car net neutral for the year, that means I have to sell 2 cars to be able to buy one. If I sell 1 car, then that takes care of that. But boy, it's yeah, again, the more I stare at it, especially in this profile view, I love this profile view, the more it is just really, really stunning. This is a nice shot too. Yeah, just blue over silver with a blue interior. Really, really good spec. It's got the, you know, sort of, I love 93. 93 is one of my favorite years because it was like kind of right when the Aerostar, you know, all the updates that were going to be done to it were kind of done. And 93 is sort of an interesting year because a lot of the things were available all at once. So you could still get manual transmissions. The Sport was now an option. All-wheel drive was now an option. Extended was now an option. And some of those things weren't available at the beginning, and some of those things weren't available at the end. By the end, you know, the manual transmission was no longer an option. The Sport was no longer an option. So it's kind of like the golden years of the Aerostar, and so there you have it. All right, I'm gonna wrap this one up. Thank you so much for watching and listening to me, you know, just get emotional about a minivan. But that's what we do here on Year of the Aerostar on Janky AF. And I know I have some comments to respond to. I will try to get to that when I can. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. Good stuff. But you know, we're sort of in the April showers period that will eventually bloom into May flowers. We're not quite there yet, but we're making a big final push. And in the meantime, I had to talk about this Aerostar. So if I don't respond to you, you know, immediately, please bear with us, have patience, and we'll get to you eventually. And also, you know, eventually we'll have another episode of Year of the Aerostar coming soon. So until then, Janky do thanky.